An Android phone with a high-def screen, an iPad with a Retina display, Amazon gone Hollywood over tablets, Twitter and Facebook at war again, but this time over photos, and an exclusive look at the next generation Blackberry on video. So many rumors, so little time, but that's why you've got us. It's TechnoBuffalo's Rumor Roundup. Hey, what is going on, everybody? I'm Noah Kravitz, editor-at-large for TechnoBuffalo, and I've got your rumor roundup for the week ending Friday, June 17th, 2011. Lots to talk about, so let's get right to it. First off, you can get more on all these stories over at our website, technobuffalo.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, all that stuff. You know the deal. Let's get to the news. Is there a new flagship Android phone coming? And if so, is it going to arrive in time to bring ice cream sandwiches to your Thanksgiving dining table? It looks like that might be the case. Some rumors surfaced this week about a phone being referred to as the Nexus 4G, which would be the next in Google's line of Nexus devices that are stock Android phones meant to show off the capabilities of the latest version of the Google Android operating system. Now, in this case, that would be Android 4.0, often referred to or referred internally to as ice cream sandwich. Ice cream sandwich has been talked about and previewed a little bit back at Google's I/O developer conference a month or so ago, but there are no devices currently running ice cream sandwich, nor any official indication of when it'll arrive and on what phones other than sometime this fall. Well, a Thanksgiving launch of a new Nexus phone would certainly fit the bill, and it looks like this phone's going to pack a full 720p HD display. No information was given on what size the screen might be, other than that it's massive. In a world where we've already got a 4.5-inch display on the Samsung Infuse, I don't even want to know what massive might mean. But apparently it's going to be full 720p, which would be 1280 by 720 pixels, much more than the current high-end Android phones that pack a 960 by 540 QHD display. Also rumored for the phone is full 1080p video capture, an advanced still camera sensor that's limited to only 5 megapixels but has superior low light performance, which, as our own Mike Perlman pointed out in his awesome article, The Megapixel Conspiracy, is much more important than pure megapixel count when it comes to capturing good photos, especially on devices like camera phones where you can't fit in a giant camera sensor with mechanical tools like optical zoom. So whatever the specs are, a next generation camera sensor, you've got that HD display, you've got HD video capture, and apparently this thing's going to be powered by a dual core processor, likely either a TI OMAP or a Qualcomm Snapdragon, running at either 1.2 or 1.5 gigahertz. Now, one thing about that name, Nexus 4G, would point to a true 4G experience. There's already a Nexus phone called the Nexus S 4G, which is Sprint's version of the Nexus S. So that name might have to be changed to avoid consumer confusion, but early reports, rumors, are pointing to a possible Google at&t partnership, with the Nexus 4G being the first smartphone to run on at&t's LTE network, which is what they're trying to move towards. Right now they've got HSPA Plus devices that they're calling 4G, but really, that's my sarcastic quotes, because I don't think at&t's 4G is really 4G at this point. But at any rate, at&t is moving towards LTE, like what Verizon has right now in the US, and this might be their first device. It would also be the first Nexus device to launch on at&t. So stay tuned. I'm sure we're going to hear much, much more about whatever this phone is, whenever it's coming, but I like the idea of ice cream sandwiches to go with my pumpkin pie at Thanksgiving dinner. Speaking of massive displays with massive resolution, some rumors, some information coming out of the iOS 5 beta build that point to a possible full-on Retina display in a forthcoming iPad. Now, if you're a hardcore nerd or you just like to follow the hardcore nerd news, you may already know that these beta versions of software, particularly now in the mobile space, are often treasure troves of all kinds of interesting information that rumor monger nerds like me like to put together and try to make stories out of. So a story came out this week that in the Twitter framework, Twitter is deeply integrated in Apple's new iOS 5 operating system, and apparently in the Twitter framework section of the iOS 5 beta that's now available to developers or folks who signed up as developers in Apple's program, there's some information pointing to a display resolution that we've never seen before in a build of iOS. That display resolution is 1536 by 2048, which is double, not double the actual resolution, but double the dimensions of the current iPad and iPad 2 dimensions. 1536 by 2048 would be an insane number of pixels, but would give an iPad device, something with that 9-inch display, a full-on Retina display. Retina display is the term that Apple made up when they launched the iPhone 4 and wanted to explain that the pixel density on the iPhone 4 screen is so dense, there's so many pixels per inch, that it's literally more than the human eye, than the human retina can actually process and deal with. And so what you get is just a maxed out display in terms of pixels per inch, something that the human eye thinks is the same as print. Or that's, what Apple wants you to believe anyway. And you can spin specs and information. Facts are useful in emergencies, to quote David Byrne. But anyway, what we've got is evidence perhaps pointing towards a Retina display coming on an iPad-sized device, an iPad 3. And I'll tell you what, TechnoBuffalo editor-in-chief Sean and I have a little side bet going on whether or not there's going to be a new iPad this year. I say there will be a new iPad or an iPad-like device from Apple this year, and I'm saying it's going to come at their September event that used to be all about the new iPads. Sean says I'm crazy. So the loser of that bet has to do something kind of fun and embarrassing to be put up on our video channel. So stay tuned for that little side bet if you care about such things. That won't be decided till later on. But evidence perhaps of an iPad 3 or a new device from Apple with a Retina display. Stay tuned. Speaking of Twitter, as you may know, leading up to the iOS 5 announcement, Twitter rolled out their own in-house photo sharing service, photo hosting service. So now instead of using TwitPic or YFrog or what have you, Twitter's encouraging folks, and by default, when you upload a photo to Twitter, it goes to their own brand new service, or it will be. It's being rolled out now to users. Their own service that they've built in conjunction with PhotoBucket. So this led to the announcement of deep Twitter integration, including photos and all kinds of other things, in iOS 5. Not necessarily as a response to that, but the timing is interesting. Some information leaked earlier this week about a supposed new photo sharing, photo management app for iPhone that Facebook is building. This is important because photo sharing, photo hosting has become huge, especially in the past 6 to 12 months. Instagram has taken off like a rocket. Like we said, Twitter's decided to go in-house so that they can control and they can build the database of photos and whatever they're going to do with it, the integration they needed to launch the iOS 5 stuff. And you might not know this, but Facebook has an insanely huge database of photos uploaded by their users. One statistic I read said that Facebook users are currently uploading 6 billion, not 6 million, but 6 billion photos every month to Facebook. That's on top of some 80 billion photos already hosted on Facebook. I mean, that's crazy, but if you think about it, you think about the number of Facebook users out there and the number of idiotic photos of your night out on the town that you posted, I think I'm talking about myself, last week, and it adds up pretty quickly. So 6 billion photos a month, a lot of those coming from iPhone users, because there are a lot of iPhone users who use Facebook. And apparently Facebook's they've been working for a while on this brand new native iPhone app to deal with it all. From the screen grabs and the data that I saw, it actually looks pretty cool. You can go over to technobuffalo.com, check out our coverage on it. It links out to some further coverage from some other sites around the web. But screen grabs and information, it looks like you can do it all. You can upload, you can tag people's faces, you can caption the photos, you can like and tag other people's photos, I think. You might be able to deal with videos as well as photos, but then you can group the photos, arrange them according to the time of the events, the location of the events, the people who were tagged in the events, all kinds of stuff. You can set your privacy settings, who you share the photos with, who you don't, all that kind of stuff from an app that looks very native iOS 5. It's interesting, some of the comments on the story we ran about the supposed photo app didn't even deal with the photo app, and they said, you'd think Facebook would fix all the bugs in their normal Facebook app for iPhone before they worried about building a photo app. So, you can weigh in with your own experience using the Facebook app on that one, but it looks like we may be seeing a brand new comprehensive photo sharing, photo management tool for iPhone users from Facebook in the near future. Speaking of videos, and I wasn't really speaking of videos, but everything's converging so much, photos and videos and tablets and phones and using Twitter and Facebook and all of them, that it's easy for me to make up transitions and segues from one story to the next. You know, it's good enough. I mentioned video when I was talking about the Facebook app. And speaking of video, there it is. More rumors about the Amazon tablet that we all at TechnoBuffalo definitely believe is coming and believe is coming sometime this year. And I even think it's going to be running Android on Intel. We've seen Android on Intel demoed, but this may be one of the first, if not the first, real big product to run Android on an Intel chipset for mobile. We'll see. I don't know. Anyway, Android tablet almost certainly coming sometime this year, whether it's branded as a color Kindle or something separate that has a Kindle app, whatever it is, we're almost sure to see it. And some reports this week that the project is codenamed Hollywood inside of Amazon. And one of the reasons may be that Amazon is going to sweeten the deal for people who buy the device, or maybe for the early adopters who buy it first, and offer free movie streaming service with the purchase of the device. Amazon's got, you know, they've got all kinds of stuff. They've got their video on demand service. They've got now a certain subset of that available for free if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber. Of course, they've got their own app store for Android. They've got their cloud music player with the music locker and everything. And it looks like they're prepping a device, a piece of hardware, to bring this all together under the Amazon flag. We've been talking about this internally, like I said, TechnoBuffalo for a while. Some articles on the site you can go back and read. I wrote one about how I think Amazon is actually poised to battle Apple head-to-head better than anybody else in the space, because if they can get a piece of hardware going, they've already got the rest of the ecosystem when it comes to selling content. They sell music, they sell movies, they sell books, and then they sell something that nobody else, including Apple, can offer, which is lawnmowers and barbecues and diapers and all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, if they bundle in, you know, a Prime membership and some free movies and some deals of the day and all that kind of stuff, they kind of hinted at this with the Kindle that you can buy for, what is it, 25 bucks cheaper if you deal with some Amazon ads, kind of hinting at that. I think they may go kind of full on a tablet with bundling in all kinds of extras that only Amazon is really situated to offer. That might, I don't know, might redefine the idea of what it takes to compete with the iPad, which, whether you think it's the best or not, it's the leading tablet out there in the market right now. So very interested to see, but new fuel for the fire, for the rumor fire this week about Amazon and a tablet and some sort of free streaming music service, movie service rather, being part of the deal. I want to mention real quick before I get to the last bit of rumor news this week, since I was talking about Amazon and the Kindle, my gadget of the week, my favorite gadget this week, is actually the Barnes & Noble Nook. The new Nook they just released, the smaller screen, touchscreen, lower price point and everything. The PR folks were nice enough to send me one of these to test out and review. I did a first impressions article on TechnoBuffalo. You can check it out. But I've been reading a lot this week. I've been reading this new book, The Oral History of ESPN, which not the best book in the world, but really interesting if you're a sports nut like I am, or just into broadcast media and stuff. But that aside, this device is awesome. And it's awesome, I think, for two reasons, or three reasons, really. One, the new display, e-ink Pearl, is great. And the folks at Barnes & Noble did a lot of work under the hood to reduce the amount of flashing that happens when you flip pages and move through screens. You can see that flash. One of the things that is most frustrating to people who use e-ink devices, but Barnes & Noble really did a lot of work to minimize the flashing, and it's great. It makes for a smoother reading experience. Two, the touchscreen combined with the buttons make it really intuitive and easy to flip pages and also get around the menu system. And then three, this thing is so small and lightweight and inexpensive that it's really, for me, this is the first e-reader I've used where I don't care that it actually doesn't have, you know, a web browser and a music player and that kind of stuff. I just want to read with it because it's small enough to carry with one hand, to throw in your bag, to not worry about it. And then, you know, you've got the whole thing with you can shop right on it via Wi-Fi and everything. It's a great device. I think Barnes & Noble did a bang-up job on this, and so far the battery life's been awesome. So there you go, quick aside. Now to get back to the news, last but certainly not least, our own John Rettinger got his hands on the next generation of Blackberries, the Blackberry Torch 2, running the latest build of BlackBerry OS. This thing is not on the market yet, but John was able to get one, had it for a little while, there are a bunch of photos and impressions of it, but there's a video tour, hands-on video tour of the BlackBerry Torch 2 on TechnoBuffalo. Definitely check it out if you're interested in the future of BlackBerry. Very interesting. If you recall, the Torch, not their first touchscreen device, that was the Storm, the ill-fated, not so well-received Storm, at least by most people. I know one mobile tech blogger who really liked it. but me, not so much. But the Torch was interesting because it combined a touchscreen and a vertical slider. The screen slid up and revealed a full BlackBerry keyboard underneath. So you kind of had the best of BlackBerry with the software and then the hard keyboard, but then also the best of the new generation of smartphones with a full touchscreen. The Torch 2 takes that whole formula, refines it, a little more power under the hood, a little more refined experience, new build of the BlackBerry OS, and very interesting to see what BlackBerry does in the rest of the year, especially now since I don't want to keep invoking Apple, but iMessenger may be a big deal, poised directly to take on BlackBerry's BlackBerry Messenger, which is, you know, according to some people, kind of BlackBerry's last foothold in the enterprise is what BBM can do that nobody else can do. So interesting to see what BlackBerry does to stay pace with the iPhones and the Androids of the world that are really just lighting the mobile market on fire. The Torch 2, definitely one of the first steps towards that next chapter in BlackBerry history. So check it out on TechnoBuffalo.com, exclusive hands-on video tour of the Torch 2 with our own John Rettinger. All right, that'll do it for the rumor roundup for this week. As always, lots more over on the site. And you can follow us on, go to our Facebook page and like us, follow us on Twitter. And of course, now you already know you can watch us in Revision 3. We are so psyched to be here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Ask the Buffalo, What's the Apps, and Rumor Roundup. I may have to change my name to John to fit in. John Q, John R, and myself, Noah. We're psyched to be here. Thanks for having us, Rev 3. And you all watching, please let us know what you think, how we can improve, all that good stuff. Till next time, we'll do the Rumor Roundup again next Friday. I'm Noah Kravitz. The site's TechnoBuffalo. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.